Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 6 over-unders to bet. And I am feeling good riding into this week. We're swimming through the currents like Michael Phelps. Let's get to the first game. Thursday night football. We got the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. Over, under 47. When you say Chiefs, I say over. I'm going over the 47. And there isn't a lot of science here. We know Kelsey, it's looking like he's 50-50 to play. It does make a huge difference, especially with this Chiefs receiving core. No one's getting separation. No one's hanging on to the ball. But it is still the Chiefs. It is still Andy Reid and still Pat Mahomes. And this Broncos defense is the worst defense I've seen in about 20 years. I gotta be honest about it. On the other side of the football, Chiefs defense has been better this year. Let's give them credit. But I still think Russell will be able to move the ball. They'll be able to put up a few points. And this could turn into a blowout, backdoor cover type game. I like the Broncos to add some in garbage time. I'm going over the 47. I actually really like this, but there's too much doubt when you talk about Thursday night over-unders. Next game, we're going to Texas. We got the New Orleans Saints at the Houston Texans. Over, under 42 and a half. Money, money, money. Money. I'm going under the 42 and a half, making a damn money pick. Listen, I really like what C.J. Stroud is doing, and I like what DeMeco Ryans' defense is doing as well. When you look at this game, I think Stroud will move the ball. I think the Saints are going to run the football a lot. I don't think there's going to be a lot of possessions in this game, and I think if the Texans continue improving their run defense, there isn't going to be a lot of points to be had, especially from the Saints side of the football. I'm looking at Carr's shoulder, and I'm not necessarily sold that he's even close to 100%. If I had to put a percentage on it, I'd put like 70, 65%. He just can't throw it downfield. So I think that Texans defense, 8 in the box, Petrie up around the line of scrimmage, I think they suffocate this Saints offense. And listen, you can look at the Patriots-Saints game from last week. I don't think we can take too much from that. I think this is a low possession game. It's going under the 42 and a half. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Seattle Seahawks at the Cincinnati Bengals. Over, under 45. I'm going over. And I told you last week, Burrow was going to come back and he was going to return to his old self. And all the stat guys were on the Cardinals and we had to hear about that all week. I'm going over, man. I don't think the Seahawks defense is as good as people think. I know it was fun watching them kick around a beaten and battered Giants team. I understand that 9-10 sacks is nothing to snub your nose at. I just don't see that same thing happening against the Bengals offense. On the other side of the football, I think Geno's going to come to play, man. And you can say a lot about Geno Smith. You can say a lot about the Seahawks offense. But one thing I respect in them is their grit and their willingness to fight. I do think they move the ball. I do think this Bengals defense has some vulnerabilities. And they are missing Jesse Bates. I told Bengals fans that preseason. Bates is a miss. I think Seahawks get some big plays. I think Bengals get more. I'm going over the 45. The more I think about it, the more I'm liking it. Next game, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Tennessee Titans in London. Over, under 41. I'm going over. Now, I do think one team I see like a 24-20 game. I think this just barely slides over. And I just think there will be turnovers. One of these offenses will turn the ball over. One thing that no one really wanted to talk about before the Steelers game is how much Lamar Jackson is throwing the ball up, but also how many fumbles this man is putting on the field. I think he's had 6 already. And this Titans defense is a ball-hawking unit, and they're going to be physical, and they're going to go after the ball. Also, we know Tannehill will throw a few share up. I think the offenses do better than people think, and also this turf that they're playing on was really, really bad in the Bills-Jags game. That normally favors the offense. I'm going over the 41. Please do not bet this. Next game, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jags. Over, under 45.5. I'm going under. Just barely under in this game. Man, I can see how this game could evolve into a shootout. I really could see that happening. But I think both of these offenses, they're going to move the ball, but they're going to struggle at times. That's why I'm going under. I don't know if the Jags are going to be able to run it. I don't know if they can push around this Colts front 7. I know the Colts defense has some liabilities in the back end, but we haven't seen the same type of play calling and creativity from the Jags offense this year. Colts play good defense, and we know the Jags, they play good defense in the red zone. 20-20, they allow a lot of yards, and I don't think Minshew's going to take a big step back from where he was last week. I'm going under. Like I said, not betting this one, not loving this one. This could easily turn into a Florida-type shootout. Next game, we're going to South Florida. We got the Carolina Panthers at the Miami Dolphins. Over, under 48.5. Money, money, money. Money. I'm going over. When I say Dolphins, you say over. We went over last week and smashed it. This Dolphins offense is good for at least 30 points anytime they step on the fucking field. And this Panthers team is playing without fight. We can talk about talent. We can talk about coaching. But I'm not seeing enough will. I'm not seeing enough physicality. And we know this Dolphins offense is going to have a damn field day. Panthers are struggling to stop the run. They're struggling to stop the pass. And we saw Detroit's offense blow a cap in them last week. I think we see the Dolphins do the same. And when you talk about Panthers-Dolphins, you have to talk about blowout. And when you get a blowout, you get Bryce Young adding some garbage points to the tally. I'm going over the 48.5, making a damn money pick. And also, this Dolphins defense is vulnerable. Like, listen, I'm a big Dolphins guy, got them ranked high in my power rankings, higher than most people, but they are vulnerable, and maybe the Panthers do something this week. Next game, we got the New England Patriots, at the Las Vegas Raiders. Over, under 41.5. I'm going under. I'm not going to watch this game. But most Raiders games are damn slaw. They really are. Like the Packers-Raiders game on Monday night for the national audience, I've watched every single Raiders game, and that's how they are. They're slaws. This Raiders defense is playing better than people think. Matt Jones looks terrible. Bill O'Brien's offense looks terrible. And there's just isn't enough weapons for the Patriots to get into the 20s at this point. I'm going under unless something crazy happens. Next game, we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Cleveland Browns. Over, under 37. I'm going with a surprise over. And I don't think Deshaun Watson will play. And I think the 49ers can get into the 30s here alone. Now, hear me out. I started the defensive bandwagon for the Browns this year once Jim Schwartz came in. But I think this locker room is divided. I think this locker room feels like Deshaun Watson quit on the team. And I just doubt we see much Browns offense. And I know, the Browns putting it it means they're not putting up points, but that means Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel are going to get 10, 11, 12 possessions. And we saw the Ravens almost put up 30 points when they were at the Browns. I think we see something similar. I'm going over the 37. A little bit of surprise here, but I think it's really low. And I think this 49ers offense is just going to wear down the Browns defense. There's only so long you can leave a defense on the field, and I think we'll find that out Sunday. Next game, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. The Bears over under 44.5. Money, money, money. Money. Borderline money pick. Listen closely. Listen closely. I was alerted that there was some inclement weather coming in. A little bit of rain, a little bit of wind. But let me tell you, man, if the wind is low and we get some rain, I still want you to go through with this. This Bears secondary is absolutely decimated, and I felt like the Bears would respond last week against the Commanders, and they certainly did. But we need to understand the state of this defense. They got two good linebackers, but outside of that, the secondary's injured, and there's no one on the defensive line who can get pressure on Kirk Cousins. No Justin Jefferson, but I think Addison, Osborne, Hockenson, I like that matchup. I like the Vikings in games against lowly opposition. I know Soldier Field is dangerous, especially if it rains, but I'm going over the 44.5. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Washington No-Names at the Atlanta Falcons. Over under 42.5. I'm going over. And I think Sam Howell has a few turnovers. And whenever Desmond Ridder steps on the field, there could be a few turnovers too. And we know what turnovers equal: points in this damn league. And I think this is going to be a close game. Like, listen, I think Atlanta wins it like I thought Atlanta would win it last week against the Texans. But when you get to close games, these games tend to get pushed over late. I'm going over in this game. Next game, we got the Arizona Cardinals. Pew, pew, pew. At the Los Angeles Rams. Over under 48.5. Money, money, money. Money. I'm going over. I absolutely love this over. Now, let me walk you through it. I love what Matt Stafford is doing, Matt the Surgeon Stafford, and I just think this Cardinals defense, listen, man, they're trying, they're playing hard, they're playing physical, but I don't think they got the dogs to match up with a healthy Cooper Kupp, and Stafford is playing really well right now, and the Cardinals defensive line, they don't have the dogs to put a pass rush on them like Jalen Carter did in that second half last week. On the other side of the football, Rams defense has played better than people thought this year, but I still think the Cardinals will be able to move the ball. I still think this will be a close game, and like I've told you, the Cardinals play really good for 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, they will over, and they get steamrolled. This pushes over late. I see like a 27-24 game. I'm going over, make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Detroit Lions. Campbell at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Over, under 43.5. I'm going under. This is a tough one, man. And this Lions offense can explode at any time. Now, I believe St. Brown will play. I'm not so sure about Jahmyr Gibbs. But this is more about a Lions defense that is starting to feel themselves. And I think they have a big day. And The problem with the Buccaneers offense, Baker is limited, but the big issue, the big problem is I don't think they'll be able to run the ball. The Lions got one of the best run defenses in the league, and I think we're going to see a lot of 3rd and 9s, a lot of 3rd and 11s, and there's only so much Baker Mayfield can do, even if he has very, very talented wide receivers. I'm going under the 43.5, and last time I checked, this Bucs defense is still fighting, and we know that defense has a lot of talented dogs. So going under here. Next game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Jets. Over under 41. I'm going under. And the Eagles, it seems like every time they get to the red zone, it's almost like they don't want to fucking score. I am honestly getting befuddled by it. I want someone to explain it to me. I wish I was a fly on the wall in Nick Sirianni's headset. And I sticking to what I said week 1. I think this Jets defense is the best unit in the league. I think it's the best damn defense, and I think they come out and have an Alamo-type performance. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but I think they do have an Alamo-type last stand. And when you look at Zach Wilson, it's limited, man. We know this Eagles secondary can be had. They can't cover a lick. But Jets offensive line banged up, and then you're putting the ball in Zach Wilson's court, and I'm just not sure what he's going to do. I think at least one of these teams doesn't get to 20. I'm going under the 41, even though the Jets show a lot of grit and fight in this matchup. Next game, we got the New York Giants at the Buffalo Bills. Over, under 44.5. Money, money, money. Money. I'm going over, make it a damn money pick. Like, listen, I'm not saying like pawn the wife's wedding ring or go big on this or anything along those lines. But I think the Bills get to the 30s, and there is garbage points in play, and even if Daniel Jones doesn't play, I think this Daboll offense is capable of putting up points in the fourth quarter when they're down by 20. Have we seen any evidence they're not going to be able to do that? And also, this Bills defense is almost like a hospital in the Ukraine. I mean, I think they're going to be missing like 6-7 starters. I think the Giants will be able to throw it. And you do worry about no Daniel Jones, but I believe he will play. Giants will move the balls just enough. I'm not saying they're going to do anything serious. I'm not saying they're going to ball out, but I think this Bills offense will step on the field at home, at Ralph Wilson Stadium, with a little bit of mojo and anger, and I think they pound a Giants defense that just seems out of ideas. Next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys, them boys, at the Los Angeles Chargers, over, under 51. I'm going under, and I'm sure most of the bets will be on the over. And I believe a lot of people think this game will turn into a shootout. But I think both pass rushes have something to say about that. Khalil Mack is having a little bit of a renaissance type year, and we know he's got Bosa on the other side. And this Cowboys offensive line, I feel like they were made to run the ball. I don't really rate them all that high when it comes to pass blocking. And even though the Chargers defense has been shredded in the air this year, outside of CD Lamb, is there anyone really winning matchups one-on-ones on this Cowboys offense? Not really. And on the other side of the ball, Herbert is playing the best football of his career. But who's going to block Micah Parsons? Is Brandon Staley going to be able to stay out of his team's way? He's going to give away at least one possession, making a bonehead fourth down decision. We know that. And you give possessions away, that forces the game to go under. I think this game will have a little bit of a playoff vibe, dare I say. I know the Chargers aren't the most physical team in the world, but I think we see a playoff type, desperate type game from both of these these teams. I think this goes under the 51. A little bit of a surprise there. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. Let's get this money. Come walk with me.
Get up, how many days it gonna take? You switch on me and I ain't get a break. If I hop off, then the levee gon' break. If I take two, then I'm off into space. Put all that down, pour all that out. I'm done without, we on the now. Step after step, day by the day. Live for the night and I'm never gon' break.